Good evening and a very warm welcome. My name is Sylvia Mulinge. It's time for Women in Leadership, where we continue to celebrate women in the country who have scaled exceptional heights. My guest in studio tonight is Sylvia Mulinge. She's the Consumer Business Director, Safaricom. And tonight we want to find out from her what exactly is the secret to her success. Good to see you, Sylvia. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So it's a big day for Safaricom. You declared very impressive profits today. What do you attribute this success to?
Well, there are quite a number of things, but I think the greatest of all is just the fact that we as an organization have chosen to be an organization that is led by purpose rather than profit, and therefore profit is more of an outcome. So what we really celebrate, while we love the great results that we see, is just the fact that our vision is actually coming alive, and we are seeing that the commitment that the company has made, our partners have made to help us to be able to realize the vision that we have of transforming lives is actually generating shareholder value, and therefore that means that we're definitely on the right track. So I think that is the greatest reason for our celebration today.
And to the ordinary Kenyan consumer, and indeed like you talked about, your shareholders, what does this mean for them, today's result?
I think what this means is that Kenya really has a lot more opportunity to be able to create a lot more Safaricoms, as my CEO said earlier today. The reason why Safaricom is great is because Kenyans have made it great. We chose to commit to our purpose of transforming lives. This identified with Kenyans. We came up with products and services that were relevant to them, and we stayed true to the course that had been defined. Now, I once had someone smart say that a strong company cannot exist in a weak society. And I think for me, therefore, when I see the strength of the company continuing to grow, as we've been able to see today, it also means that our society is growing. And that is why we made a lot of effort in communicating the true value that we have been able to create in this economy, because that is a true measure of the impact that Safaricom is generating in this economy.
And let's get into your journey now, Sylvia. Give us a glimpse into your journey. Where did this all begin?
So, I'm an ordinary girl. I was born in Nairobi, brought up in Nakuru. I come from a family of 5, so I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And my career started off in Unilever. I did a food science and technology degree in the University of Nairobi. I graduated with first-class honors, which I'm really proud of. But when I started looking for a job, I thought I would become an operations manager working in the production sector or something. But I think God had a different destiny for me. So what happened is when Unilever was recruiting and looking for management trainees, I went there thinking they were going to post me to go and work in the factory. But they said that I displayed strong sales and marketing competencies, and therefore I was taken up as a management trainee, but sent to go and work in the commercial function. So that's where I began my journey. I have done sales. I have sold all over the country driving pickups. After that, then I moved to customer marketing, which in other places is also known as trade marketing. And then after that, I also did brand marketing. I think probably my most notable achievement when I was in Unilever was the launch of Sunlight washing powder. I was the brand manager then. And I don't know if you remember the Sunlight, the search for Kenya's national dress. That was done by Sunlight. So I was also driving that. After that, I did a short stint in South Africa. Then I came back. And that's when I got into Safaricom. Started off working in products or as a brand manager in charge of our prepaid services. Then after that, I moved on to head our retail business, rolling out the shops, managing our Safaricom Care. After that, then we had begun to move into the fixed side of enterprise business. So I was sent over there as head of sales. I worked there for a couple of years. Then I rose to become enterprise director in 2011. I did that for about 4 years, and then I became consumer director last year.
Wow, what a story. So tell us about your role as consumer business director. What exactly does this entail? What's a typical day at work for you like?
So as consumer business director, Well, we have two types of customers that we serve. We have business customers who are served under our enterprise division. So all the small and medium enterprises, the corporates, government, all get their products and services and the strategy developed by the enterprise business. And then all the consumer services are developed together by my team within the consumer business unit. So we are responsible for defining and delivering the strategy that will help us to be able to achieve the aspirations that our consumers have, and also take responsibility for managing the brand. Okay,
so let's talk about consumer habits, Sylvia, and what consumers are, who is buying what. I'm looking at your report today. What are the consumer habits in terms of who is more interested in mobile data? What's the bulk of persons that are actually more into voice calls? Where is the money being spent most?
You probably noticed when we announced our results today that for the first time we had a higher contribution from our non-voice revenue, which is made up of M-Pesa as well as data, than we had from voice. So while voice continues to grow, we had about a 1.1% growth. We are seeing a lot more growth coming from the data and M-Pesa space. And this just shows the shifting trends in our consumer behaviors. We are seeing a lot more people now getting online. Today we were out in Rongai, no, actually in Ngong, visiting one of our customers, an everyday customer who probably earns about 500 shillings a day. He's a plumber, and one of the things that he told us is that he's on Facebook, right? And when we asked him, what do you go on Facebook to do? I go to provide updates. I want to connect with my friends, telling them what is happening in my life. So everyone, from the young people to the older generation, my mother is on WhatsApp and communicates a lot to me on WhatsApp. So we are seeing a generation that is increasingly becoming very much online, and this is really what is now beginning to spur our investment in data. We have made significant investments in expanding our network coverage, as well as our recent announcement of our expansion in the 4G network.
So not a lot of revenue coming from voice calls, and I know your CEO has been asked this before. Is voice dead? Are people now more into instant messaging such as WhatsApp and Viber? And what is that doing to your SMS services? Has that affected your SMS services?
Well, I wouldn't say that 43% of 98 billion is a dead business. It's still significant. And we've been able to get this far because of the contribution that voice has made. But what is happening is we saw where the world was going and where the trends were shifting to, and that's why we began to invest in other non-voice services, which has helped us to continue to drive the margin expansion that we see today. But regardless of that, you also have to remember that we have about 10 million smartphones on the network, and those are predominantly the customers who are consuming data. But there's still a large number, more than half of our base, who still have just the basic phones, the basic feature phones that do not have data, and those are the people who are continuing to communicate every day on SMS. And that is why, in spite of the fact that we are seeing a lot of growth in data, we still reported an 8% growth in our SMS. And I think the work that is there for us is to continue to think about how do we innovate in delivering better services for these customers. We've invested in products like monthly packs for SMS that offer more value for the customers who are using these services, and that is why we continue to see the growth.
There's a question that's coming in immediately about the quality of voice calls, and someone here is saying that drop call rates have been known to be quite high, particularly in the central business district. Is this something that Safaricom is aware of? Is it something that you're addressing?
It's something that we are aware of, and it's something that we are committed to fixing. And that is the reason why 3 months ago we announced our call drop guarantee, where we told customers to just be able to demonstrate the commitment that we have to fixing the quality of the network. We are going to reimburse you for every dropped call that you have. And we started that off as an activity that we were only running for 3 months, and last month we announced that we're now going to make it permanent for the long term. So long as you drop a call, we will reimburse you. But what we have done over and above that, because I mean there's a lot of feedback that we get from our customers, and while probably we may look at the overall statistics on the network and we think that they're looking fine, you will interact with customers who say, I was driving here and then I got a drop call, and every day I drive in this place, I always get a drop call. So we've actually provided a tool where customers can just write to us on 5555 and give us that feedback. Our customer care team pick up that feedback that we receive. We feed it into our technology organization, and then the technology team then work to improve the quality of the network in that space. We've been able to address a lot of queries in this way, and we will continue to do that so that we deliver. I mean, in CBD, there are challenges in terms of the height of buildings, so the work that we have to do is to ensure that the quality of the network inside buildings keeps getting better and better. M-Pesa
has changed the lives of Kenyans. But again, a bulk of our viewers feel that the cost of transferring money is high. And I know you today introduced M-Pesa Kadogo for transactions below 100. But what about people who, you know, are transacting every day on M-Pesa, who send bulks of money, business persons, people who are just too busy to go to the bank? What about those who feel that the costs are still too high?
So the M-Pesa story is an amazing story, and we are really proud that it is a Kenyan story and a first across the world. But obviously, with every product that you launch, you're obviously looking to get a lot more feedback from customers. So the launch of M-Pesa Kadogo is the beginning of many other steps that we are going to be taking to deliver a lot more value on the M-Pesa platform for our customers. What we have been focusing on in the last year is just to first of all deliver a more robust platform, a more reliable platform, and we are very proud to say that if you look at the M-Pesa platform today, we are nearly at 100% availability, which is really good, and a real shift and leap from where we were a couple of months ago. And now that we have the platform stable and we can be able to drive a lot more transactions, there's now a lot more work that we are doing to drive deeper financial inclusion and just continue to drive a lot more cashless transactions. I mean, in spite of the size of M-Pesa today, cash still accounts for about 96% of all the payments that are made in this country, which shows that there's still a lot of opportunity, and probably people are feeling that we can innovate better, whether it's in terms of pricing or in terms of the products and services that we offer. So M-Pesa Kadogo is the first step towards getting there. A lot of people who trade in transactions below 100, probably majority of our customers who really are our greatest supporters. They are the wananchi who have always been with Safaricom and will defend Safaricom to the very end. And they're the ones that we now want to make it easier for them to be able to trade on the M-Pesa platform.
Okay, and let's get into more about Sylvia. Your drive, what motivates you when you get up? I mean, you've scaled heights, and the other day I was actually having a conversation with one of my mentors, and she said, I'm there, I've reached there, I could easily get into my office and lock my door or go home and work from home, but I come to the office every day. I'm here as early as 6 or 7 for you. What motivates you? What keeps you going?
I've thought about that because obviously what motivates you in different seasons of your life depends on the circumstances that you're in. But where I am today, I am highly motivated by the fact that I want to be a person who delivers impact, right? I recently just went through a whole introspection and got to the place where I realized I want to live with a legacy mindset. What will I be remembered for? And what I realized is that everyone has a space of time that they have been given. And it's critical that you bring meaning to that space of time, whether it's in the relationships that you have, whether it's in the networks that you build, whether it's in the job that you do, whether it's your role as a mother, as a wife, as a child to your parents. And therefore, for me, what I seek to do is to live with that kind of legacy mindset. That's what inspires me. And every day I wake up, when I'm coming to work or in whatever it is that I'm going to do, I ask myself, am I living with that end in mind? Is what I'm doing today contributing to the narrative that will exist about me even after I'm gone?
Your assessment of the Kenyan corporate sector, having worked for different organizations, do you think there's a space for women in leadership in comparison to their male counterparts? She's the second in command after Bob Collymore, by the way.
I don't know who told you.
Well, that's what we know. I mean, I stand to be corrected.
Well, I will correct you. There are many women in Safaricom who deliver. I mean, in the management team alone, the team that reports into Bob Collimo, we are 50-50. 50% men, 50% women, and everybody makes their own personal contribution. And when I just think about corporates, yes, there are not many people that are probably have the kind of privilege that we have as women in Safaricom. We have a boss who believes in women. We have embraced the Sustainable Development Goals, where one of the goals is about gender equality in our corporate strategy. We have embraced the whole concept of 100% human at work, which means that we as women can come with our children to work, because that's an important facet of who we are as mothers. We have creche facilities that have been built for them. We are working on growing our women through the system, through specific initiatives like Women in Technology, which are traditionally areas that a lot of women have run away from. So I think we are highly privileged because we have a CEO who has that vision. But does that mean that women in other sectors or in other companies cannot thrive? I do not think so. I think it all depends on you. It depends on the vision that you want to set for yourself. Circumstances may not always stack the way you want them to, but what do you do with what you have? I believe women are as smart, if not smarter, than men, and they therefore must come to the table, not feeling disadvantaged because they are women, but coming to the table knowing that they have an equal contribution to make like every other person, and make that contribution. Sometimes we as women, we pull ourselves back, we hold ourselves back, we sometimes are our own worst enemies. But if you come to the table and you say that I have an equal contribution to make, I can make a recommendation that can be accepted, stop being afraid, say it. I think one of the things about men is that they are bold. They make their decisions known. They do not hold back, and we have to be a lot more bold. We have to be a lot more visible. We have to be a lot more present in the workplace for us to be able to generate the impact that we can be able to make as women.
What about Safaricom are you most proud of that was engineered perhaps by you or by your team under your leadership?
There are many things to be proud of. If I was to think about the various products and services that we have launched or that have evolved based on customer insights that we have gotten, I mean, there are many. I can't begin to count them. But I think probably the thing that I'm most proud of as Safaricom is that we as a company, all the 5,000 of us who work in Safaricom, are all united behind one vision, and that unity is what really propels us and makes us succeed. I'm very proud of the fact that we've been able to bring our different partners and stakeholders and to get them to actually also embrace that vision, and together we are generating impact. I think a purposeful organization is very difficult to stop, and we are beginning to see the engines of Safaricom getting unlocked as we begin to be fueled and driven by that purpose that we have defined.
So you're at the helm of leadership now at Safaricom. So the sky is, I mean, you're obviously already at the sky. What next for Sylvia? Are you eyeing perhaps a bigger position? Do you feel that perhaps it's time to explore other opportunities elsewhere? What's your plan?
Well, I'm inspired by different things. Well, from a corporate perspective, I've been in this role now for about 1.5 years, so I probably want to do a little bit more. I'm thinking through with my team what are the things that we want to be remembered for. So we are working through that, which will probably take another year or two at the top. And then probably after that, look out to get a role that has bigger responsibility, whether in this market or internationally, just to continue to let my wings fly. And it's a Friday, Sylvia. So what does a Friday, I mean, what does a weekend look like for a boss? What do you do for the weekend to unwind? I am not a boss. I'm Sylvia. What do I do on a weekend? Well, most of the time during the week is normally quite hectic because like I have 2 kids who so I take them to school early in the morning. I try to get home early enough to do the homework. I don't always succeed, so I try to make sure that over the weekend I catch up with them. They are my best friends and my favorite people in the world. So I'll spend a lot of the weekends puttering around the city doing different things. hanging out with my friends. On Sunday, I always go to church. And then in the afternoon, most likely you'll catch me sleeping.
Yeah.
Or taking the kids somewhere to do something. Or reading a book.
Thanks for sharing. And we're closing now. So your mantra for that salesperson, that sales girl, that young lady or that young man that's probably a salesperson and is looking at you and wondering, will I ever get there? Will I ever get to director level? Your mantra, what it's taken for you as we close your parting shot.
Somebody told me the other day in their office that I think in straight lines. I don't think in glitches. And, you know, when they told me that, I was a bit taken aback and I wonder, what exactly do you mean? But I think the thing about life is if you embrace a bigger yes, if you say yes, it becomes much easier to say a lot of no's to the rest of things that don't really matter. So I think my challenge and what I would probably say is that everyone needs to identify what is that big yes. For me, my mantra, I say the world is my stage and the Lord my audience, so that is my big yes. And that really defines how I make the decisions that I need to make in life. So once you define that big yes in your life, it then becomes very easy to get rid of the things that are not really stacking up or adding up to that vision. And you then pick up speed when you'll actually realize that how much speed you're able to gain and how fast you move when you get rid of all the unnecessary baggage. So identify your yes, commit to it, build the capacity to be able to pursue that yes, and you'll be surprised at how far life will take you.
Thank you so much for sharing. We've been talking to Sylvia Mulinge, Director of Consumer Business at Safaricom. She's been our guest on Women in Leadership tonight. Please keep tweeting. We will forward your tweets to her, and keep watching. Sports is up next.